What up? Yeah. Well, today been a good day. Today been a pretty good day. Now we about to watch JD Vance explain Trumponomics to the best of his ability. Let me go over here. We might do a little reaction on Candace Owens. I think they silenced her though, chat. Erica Kirk called in for a meeting, a 4.5 hour meeting. And I think they silenced Candace Owens on the Charlie Kirk situation, all the stuff she was saying. That's what I think happened. But we're gonna watch JD Vance, we're gonna react to that. That's how we're gonna rock it. This is not gonna be a long live. I just want to come on here and react to JD Vance and this Trumponomics situation. He gonna explain it the best that he can, Of course, he's gonna basically say everything Trump wanted him to say, but he's supposed to, because he's trying to be the next president in 2028 and beyond. And I kind of like old JD Vance. I think he all right. I think he'll do a good job. He was a war veteran, a military guy. I think, in my opinion, we need a military president that's also smart and savvy. So let's check him out and see what he's talking about tonight on the economy and affordability. That's the new word these days. It's called affordability. Well, let's rock and roll. Let's see. We might listen to a little bit of Candace Owens too. Let me check it out. Let me go on and put that in the queue. Don't hold me on that though, Chad. I might not do it. I might not. Let's see how this gonna work. No. Be on screen. Okay. Let me go back over here where I was at, chat. Do this. So we got it all loaded up now. I think we're going to be ready to rock and roll. I'm going to come back to that. I think I'm going to take this off. Okay, now we're ready to see what JD Vance is going to be telling us. Appreciate y'all for joining me. Hit the like button as you're tuning in. Hit the like button as you come in and rock with me. I'm at the desk just chilling. If you was with me earlier, you watched the live. I ran 5 miles. Then I came back and I did my normal workout, because I work out. I call it 3 times a day, but a lot of people say the walk down is another workout. So even though I call it 3, it's really 4. Really, I work out 4 times a day. That's why when you see me on that treadmill, well, we about to show that right now. Because let me see. I'm gonna share this. Oh, you can't really see it. Let me see. This is me right here making the move before we go to JD Vance. I'm gonna show a little bit of this. This is me putting the work in, running 5 miles on the treadmill. Let's go. Do I have, let's see, where it's muted, because I'm at the gym, but I'm putting the work in, man. I really work out 3 times a day. That video is on, that whole stream of this whole run is the live I did earlier. If you're familiar with the walk down, I run and then I do the walk down. Well, somebody challenged me and said that I'm not running like this. So I had to go inside of the gym and run on the treadmill. I haven't ran on the treadmill in 3 years, Chad. I've been running outside. As you can see, I'm not even breathing. This video, I'm probably about, let's see how far I'm in on this run. I'm 30 minutes in right now on this run, and I ain't even breathing. So let me go over. Let me go watch JD Vance. I ain't got time for that right now. Okay, share that instead. Okay, thank y'all, chat, for rocking with me. Let's go and see what JD Vance he is talking about the Trump economy. He's going to try to explain it the best way he can. So let's hear him. Appreciate y'all for joining me, chat. Hit the like button.
Of the president's leadership, we have put $1,000 back in your pocket. That's what that means. And that's just the beginning, my friends. That is just the beginning. Because if you look at what we are doing every single day, you are going to have, and if this doesn't turn out to be true, I'll come back here and you can all tell me I'm wrong. But I'm telling you, it's going to be true. You are going to have middle-class Americans, middle-class Pennsylvanians, some of the best tax season in 2026 that you've ever had. Because if you look at no taxes on overtime, no taxes on tips, when we talk about no taxes on your auto loans if you buy an American-made car, now those are political words. I'm sure you've heard them on TV, but starting with tax season in just a couple of weeks, you're going to see that in your tax refund. That's what that means. More money in your pocket because you've got a president and a Congress that are fighting for you for a change, and that's exactly what it should be. And I gotta say, I'm a little surprised. I'm a little surprised by when the Democrats talk all the time about affordability. Democrats say, you know, things aren't affordable. This isn't affordable. This has gotten more expensive. Drugs have gotten more expensive. Housing's gotten more expensive. And you know what? They're right, and it was because of them. It ain't that hard. If you go back to the 4 years of the Biden administration, why did housing get so expensive, double in price during the Biden administration? It's because Joe Biden let in 20 million illegal immigrants who took homes that ought by right go to American citizens and to the people of this great state. When we talk about why did health care get so unaffordable during the Biden administration, it's because Joe Biden allowed prescription drug companies to take advantage of this country. You know, Europeans were paying way less for prescription drugs than our American citizens. It took Donald J. Trump to haul those pharmaceutical executives into the Oval Office and say, no more. Europe's going to pay more for drugs, and America's going to pay less for drugs because we got to fight for the American people for a change. Why have rents gone down for 4 consecutive months? And I know they're still too high, but why have rents gone down for 4 consecutive months? Because we're starting to get those illegal aliens out of the United States of America. Those criminals, those gang members, those people who are taking homes that ought by right go to the people in this room and your children and your grandchildren. It's simple economics. If you have fewer people, fewer illegal aliens trying to buy homes, that means American citizens are going to finally be able to afford a home again. It's very, very simple economics. When you ask, why is it that we have trillions of dollars of new investment coming into the United States of America? Because we finally got a president who says, if you're going to build in America, if you're going to invest in America, we're going to make it easy for you. But if you're not going to build anything in America, if you're going to try to ship an American job overseas, then we are going to penalize you for doing something overseas that you ought to do in the United States of America. That's why we've got so much money coming in. So if you look at every single affordability crisis that we talk about in the United States of America today, it's because we inherited a nightmare of an economy from Joe Biden. The highest peacetime debt and deficits in the history of the United States of America. That blows the door off inflation. The highest energy prices in the history of the United States of America. We are in one of the great energy regions in the entire world, not just in America, in the entire world. You know why energy prices are lower? You know why gas prices have come down so much? Because we finally got an American president who wants to invest in American energy and American workers instead of green energy boondoggles that are produced overseas. Thank you. So on all these things, my point, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are making progress. And I never forget where I come from. I never forget who I serve. And I know that there is so much more progress to be made. I remember my grandmother in times like this of the holidays. Of course, I think a lot of us remember the loved ones that we've lost. I remember my dear Mamaw, that's what I called her. And I was in a particularly hard math class in high school. And she said, "What do you need to do well in this class?" My grades weren't so good. And she went out, even though she could not afford even the essentials in life, she went out and got me a calculator, a very expensive calculator, so that I could do well in this math class. I remember what it feels like for American families when you have the government take $3,000 out of your pocket through higher taxes and higher inflation. I know what it's like for a woman who's trying to support a grandson but can't afford her prescription drugs because pharmaceutical companies are taking advantage of the United States of America. I remember what it's like when you have to choose between putting food on the table or getting the prescription that you need to stay healthy. And that is not a life that Donald Trump or I want for the citizens in the greatest country in the world. We want you to be able to afford the things that you have to give your kids and your grandkids a good life. We want you to check your credit card statement and for that to be an annoyance, something you got to do rather than something that causes a lot of stress and anxiety. We don't want a single parent or grandparent to have to look at their checking account and decide whether they're going to buy food or whether they're going to buy medicine this month. We are fighting for you every single day. And I don't want you to think for 1 second that because Joe Biden gave us the worst economy in the world that we forget it. No, we know. We know exactly what we were left with. We know exactly the consequences that it's caused for so many of our great families all across Pennsylvania. And I promise you, there is no person more impatient to solve the affordability crisis than Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States. You know, I hear these guys, I hear these Democrats talk about this as if you were going to fix these problems in a single day. It reminds me of probably the third day in the Oval Office where eggs had gotten so expensive under the Biden administration. And you look, I'm the Vice President of the United States. I'm a very blessed man, but we have 3 little kids who eat a lot of eggs. And so I know the price of a dozen eggs. So the price of eggs got really high during the Biden administration. It was the third day in the White House, and some reporter said, "What are you doing about the price of eggs? Haven't you seen they're so expensive?" And the president's like, "Lady, we've been here for 3 days. It takes a little bit of time to fix something that was so fundamentally broken." And so when I hear the Democrats talk about the affordability crisis that they created, it's a little bit like, you know, Charles Manson criticizing violent crime. Look in the mirror, my friend. You are the cause of the problem, and Donald J. Trump's administration is the solution to the problem that you created. I want to say one more thing here, and then I want to take some questions from the reporters, and then we'll have to hit the road. But, you know, this is such an amazing time to be in Pennsylvania. As much as I complain about the cold, and I do, as much as I almost busted my rear end on the tarmac today, I love being in the great state of Pennsylvania during this time of year. I love Christmas time. I love the beautiful trees. I love the snow on the hills. I love everything about this state this time of year. It reminds me a lot of my home state of Ohio for reasons that you all know well. But here's the thing. During this Christmas time, I think that we got to remember that we have a lot in the United States of America to be grateful for. And I am at the very top of the list of people who have a lot to be grateful for. I'm very grateful to my beautiful wife and our healthy kids. I'm very grateful to have this job, for the trust that all of you have put in me. I'm very grateful that we have a president of the United States who would literally take a bullet for this country, and in fact actually did. But I just ask all of you to count your blessings this holiday season, because there is a lot good out there. There's a lot that we're still working to fix, but I just wanted to say, from the President of the United States, from the entire administration, my friends in Pennsylvania, Merry Christmas to you. I hope your families have a Happy New Year. Thank you. All right. Thank you all. Please sit down. Sit down. We're not done yet. We're not done yet. Please. All right. We're going to take a few questions from the reporters, and we're going to start with the most egregious of the fake news. Is that right, Luke? No. We're going to start with the local reporters who have some integrity. So let's start with our local cameraman, and then we'll move on to the fake news if we have some time. Sir or ma'am.
Here go the questions, chat. We got 164 people in the building. Y'all please hit the like button, and that channel that's pinned in the chat. I need y'all to go subscribe to the conservative one. Y'all do me a favor right now and take the time to go subscribe to my new channel. It's called the conservative one. I got it pinned right there in the chat. That channel that's pinned, I need y'all to go subscribe to the channel. I need 44 subscribers to start going live over there. I need y'all to take the time out right now to go to that channel that's pinned in the chat and go over there and subscribe for me. I need y'all to do that for me, chat.
Hi, I'm Jackson White from WITF in Harrisburg.
Hey, Jackson. How you doing?
I'm good. So many Americans are still reporting that they're experiencing high costs of groceries and other living expenses. How does the administration plan to lower those costs, and how long might that take for them to experience those lower costs?
Well, Jackson, as I said earlier, I think the best way to understand this is if the American people had $3,000 taken out of their pocket, it's going to take a little bit of time before they really feel like that money's been put back in their pocket. That just takes a lot of time. It's a lot of work. And I think the best way to do it is, on the one hand, you got to lower costs. That's why that we're lowering regulations on American energy to get gas and groceries down. Now, how does energy connect to groceries? Because if the truck that takes the groceries to the grocery store is paying out the wazoo for diesel fuel, then that means every American's going to be paying more at the grocery. If the farmers who actually grow our food are paying way too much for fuel and fertilizer, that means American citizens are not going to be able to afford their groceries. So if we lower the price of energy, we lower the price of groceries, we lower the price of gasoline, and importantly, we bring good jobs back into this country so that wages go up. That's how you give people a shot at the American dream again. That is our job. That is what we ran on. That is what we promised to do. And after 11 months, again, the average American family is $1,000 richer than they were 11 months ago. Now, if you had $3,000 taken out of your pocket by the Biden administration, of course you're still struggling to get by. Rome was not built in a day, but we are committed every single day to making every single American who works hard and plays by the rules, we want them to get a little bit richer every single day. And we do believe that if we keep on making the right decisions, we keep on investing in the United States of America, we are going to find that the American citizens can afford a good life in their country again. That's our obligation, and that's what we're trying to do.
Good morning, Mr. Vice President. My name is Thomas Shortell. I'm a reporter with Lehigh Valley Public Media. Congressman Ryan McKenzie and a number of other battleground Republicans have been pushing to have tax credit extensions on the ACA. I was curious what your thoughts were on their efforts. Is that something that the administration is behind?
So first of all, just on healthcare costs, if you look at some of the worst healthcare costs for American citizens, the biggest drivers of increased healthcare costs, it is the cost of prescription drugs. It simply got way too high, and it got too high because we allowed other countries to take advantage of it. I'm talking about the same exact drug that would cost $300 in Great Britain or $250 in France would cost an American $5,000 or $10,000. We were subsidizing the entire world's prescription drugs, and no president had the courage to put a stop to it. And Ryan McKenzie has been very supportive on this. Nobody had the courage to put a stop to it until Donald J. Trump said no. We are done getting fleeced on pharmaceuticals. Europe has to pay up so that our great American citizens can pay less. That's the most important thing that we've done. Now, you are right that the health insurance market, the health insurance system is totally broken. It's been broken for 15 years, and we're working with Congress, both Democrats and Republicans, to come up with a solution. You talked about premium support. We think that everything should be on the table, but Democrats and Republicans, they got to work together and put something on the president's desk to sign. Now, I will tell you, we've been involved in probably 10 different health care bills. You know, we've been talking to Ryan about it. We've been talking to my friend Bernie Moreno from the state of Ohio. We've been talking to Susan Collins about it. We've even been talking to a few of the reasonable Democrats who are putting ideas out there. But Congress has got to get us something to lower the cost of health insurance for American citizens. The Obamacare system was broken. Donald J. Trump wants to fix it, but Congress has got to step up here.
Mr. Vice President, thanks for taking my question. I'm Hannah Brandt from News Nation. As I'm sure you know, recent polling shows most Americans don't approve of how the Trump administration is handling the economy. I hear what you're saying, that it's going to take time to fix things, but the political reality is that the midterms are next year. Are you worried that affordability is a political liability for your administration and for Republicans?
Look, I'm not worried about the politics because I believe fundamentally in the wisdom of the American people. When we go out there and we tell our story, that gasoline and energy got way too high under Joe Biden's administration, but we've lowered the cost of energy, the American people will understand that. The American people know that. When we go out there and talk about the fact that the affordability crisis that happened under Joe Biden's administration made a lot of Americans poorer and working every single day to put money back in their pocket, I think the American people will understand and agree with that. Of course, they're going to be the ones who make the final decision. But I feel very confident that if we keep wages high, we keep energy prices low, we keep on chipping away at the affordability crisis created by Joe Biden's administration, yes, I believe the American people are going to reward us because the American people are smart. They know Rome wasn't built in a day. They know what Joe Biden broke is not going to get fixed in a week. We got to stay with it. We got to keep on working on bringing good jobs and money back into the United States of America. And that it already has paid major dividends for the American people. It's going to pay a lot more in the year to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. This is Elizabeth Mitchell from the Daily Signal. The health care bill released Friday by the GOP doesn't include health savings accounts. Are you comfortable with that? And would you like to see the GOP use the special reconciliation process to address health care costs and other affordability concerns?
Well, one of the things the president has said is we have the weirdest health insurance system in the world, where we tax money from all of these great Americans out here, and then we give boatloads of money to the insurance companies. Why don't we give that money to the American people and let them buy insurance that works for them and their families? I mean, if you look at insurance company profits, they have been skyrocketing ever since Obamacare was passed. The insurance companies have done very well under Obamacare. You know who hasn't done well under the Obamacare system of giving boatloads of money to the American people? All of you. That's what's broken about this system. It's good for insurance companies and bad for Americans. We are trying to get to a healthcare policy that's good for Americans. We don't care. If the insurance companies do well, great. If they do poorly, that's their problem. We are here to fight for the American worker and make health insurance affordable for them. So we're going to keep on working at it. You mentioned one piece of legislation. I've probably read a dozen different pieces of legislation that are floating out there. Again, it's going to come to the point where Republicans and Democrats have to figure out what can be passed together. Of course, the president is going to drive a lot of that process. We're still reviewing some of these legislative texts as they come up. We believe that we can solve this problem, but again, the nature of our system, we're going to work with Congress to make sure we get something that's good for the American people through the Congress. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. This is Irie Sentner from Politico. President Trump last week gave his economy a grade of A++++. What grade would you give the economy today?
A++++.
That was
Look,
Chad, I don't even know why he asked him that question. You know he was gonna say A+++. I don't even know why he asked him that.
USA! 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 USA!
Here's the simple fact of the matter. Again, you have to understand all of this stuff in context. You have to ask yourself, what has the Trump economy been able to build over the past 10 or 11 months, given what we inherited from the Biden administration? Ladies and gentlemen, we had the worst inflation crisis in 50 years in the United States of America under Joe Biden. We had the worst trade deficit in the history of the United States under Joe Biden. We had debt and deficits, the highest in the history of American peacetime in 250 years. What we have been able to do, higher wages, lower inflation, a massive amount of investment and money coming into the United States of America, that stuff is incredible. And that is something to be proud of. What I will say is that given how bad things got under the Biden administration, we're going to keep on working every single day to make sure that Americans feel the benefits of the Trump economy. I am certain that we've already seen great benefits for the American people, but we got a lot of rebuilding to do over the next 3 years, and the president is committed more than anybody to making sure that we do it.
Hi there, Vice President JD Vance. This is Rob Manch with 69 News, WFMZ. The jobs report you mentioned this morning, you said 60,000 jobs were added in November. However, it also said 100,000 jobs were lost in October, and the unemployment rate currently stands at 4.6%, which is the highest since the pandemic. So my question is, how do you inspire companies to hire people if people don't have jobs? Income tax cuts aren't going to help them.
Well, first of all, the idea that income tax cuts don't help is ridiculous. If more people have more money to spend in their pocket, that's good for businesses, it's good for families, it's good for everybody. It's one of the ways why we do this. When we talk about 100,000 jobs, you're talking about government sector jobs, and that is in a lot of ways the entire story of what we're trying to do under President Trump's leadership. We want to fire bureaucrats and hire these great Americans out here. That's what we're trying to do. Now, you mentioned, this is an important point, you mentioned the unemployment rate ticking up to 4.6%. I think this is a very, very important point, because you know what that means? What that data shows, you got to get in the weeds a little bit. The unemployment rate only counts the people who are looking for work. So let's say you dropped out of work 2 years ago, you haven't been searching for a job. Well, you're unemployed, but you're not counted in the official unemployment statistics. What you're seeing as wages go up, as more investment comes into our country, is that people who weren't looking for work under Biden's administration are getting out there and looking for work in the Trump administration. That's exactly what we want. We want to get people off the sidelines and give them a good job with good pay, and we're seeing a lot of evidence that that is happening under President Trump's leadership. We'll take one more question.
Mr. Vice President, Jacob Bogage from the Washington Post. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Same to you.
Unfortunately, I have to ask a bit of an off-topic question from affordability, because news events do intervene, and that is the interviews that White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles gave to Vanity Fair, in which she's quoted as referring to you as, excuse me, and again, not my words, sir, but a conspiracy theorist of a decade, and described your transformation from someone who once opposed President Trump to now his vice president as an act of political expediency. And I'd like to give you the chance to respond to that, sir.
Well, first of all, if Susie, I'll trust what you said. I haven't looked at the article. I of course have heard about it, but conspiracy theorist. Sometimes I am a conspiracy theorist, but I only believe in the conspiracy theories that are true. Yeah. And by the way, Susie and I have joked in private and in public about that for a long time. For example, I believed in the crazy conspiracy theory back in 2020 that it was stupid to mask 3-year-olds at the height of the COVID pandemic, that we should actually let them develop some language skills. You know, I believed in this crazy conspiracy theory that the media and the government were covering up the fact that Joe Biden was clearly unable to do the job. And I believed in the conspiracy theory that Joe Biden was trying to throw his political opponents in jail rather than win an argument against his political opponents. So, at least on some of these conspiracy theories, it turns out that a conspiracy theory is just something that was true 6 months before the media admitted it. And that's my understanding. Now, look, I do want to say something about Susie, though, because, again, having not read this article, Susie is a person I've come to know very, very well. And, you know, a lot of you probably ask yourself, what is it like behind the scenes? What's going on, actually, behind the scenes of the Trump administration? And I'll tell you, the president is exactly in private who he is in public. Like, I'll tell you a little story. Maybe a week or so ago, I walk into the Oval Office, and Marco and I are sitting there talking with the president about something. He says, stop. And he looks at our shoes and says, you guys have terrible shoes. So he goes and gets a shoe catalog. Now remember, this is the Christmas season, so the president's got some holiday cheer. He goes and gets a shoe catalog and gets his favorite shoes and orders like 4 pairs of shoes for me and 4 pairs of shoes for Marco, because he's like, you know, we need our vice president, our secretary of state to look their very best. And, you know, then we went back to talking about whatever major, you know, international issue we were talking about. Again, he is exactly in private who he is in public. That's not true of most people in Washington, D.C. It's not. And I've seen so many people who will say one thing to the president's face, Democrats and Republicans, and then will do the exact opposite behind the scenes. You know why I
Hey, what's up, Kevin? Appreciate you for joining. Hope you're having a great night.
You know what they are. And you know why I really love Susie Wiles? Because Susie is who she is in the president's presence. She's the same exact person when the president isn't around. I've never seen Susie Wiles say something to the president and then go and counteract him or subvert his will behind the scenes. And that's what you want in a staffer. Because as much as I love Susie, the American people didn't elect any staffer. They elected the President of the United States. And what you want in a staffer is a person who understands they are there to effectuate the will of the American people, and they're there to follow the orders of the duly elected Commander-in-Chief of the United States. And Susie Wiles, we have our disagreements. We agree on much more than we disagree, but I've never seen her be disloyal to the President of the United States, and that makes her the best White House Chief of Staff that I think the President could ask for. And the last thing I'll say is, if any of us have learned a lesson from that Vanity Fair article, I hope that the lesson is we should be giving fewer interviews to mainstream media outlets. So with that lesson internalized, I'm going to stop taking questions and just leave you with one final note. And again, it's just a note of gratitude. This is the coolest job I've ever had. Agree with us or disagree with us, I'm sure that every single person in this room made something happen to get me to this job. You went out there and voted, maybe you persuaded one of your relatives to vote, maybe even volunteered or knocked on doors or made phone calls for us. I will never forget that my job every single day is to make it so that you guys can have a safe and prosperous life in this country that all of us love. Thank you. We inherited a mess, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We inherited a mess. But I think that in 11 months, we have made great progress to making this a safer, a more secure, and a more prosperous nation. Let's work for the next 3 years to do even more great work for the American people, and let's rebuild this country together. God bless you all. Merry Christmas.
We got to do that again.
All right, Chad. I don't know what to say about that. I thought there was going to be a little bit better, a little bit more detail, but it wasn't. But this is what we're going to do, Chad. Y'all know that Erica Kerr and Candace Owens sat down and had a little chitter-chatter, 4.5-hour discussion. Candace Owens comes back, and I guess she's going to give us some kind of detail on how the conversation went. So we're going to go into that next. But at this time, I want to thank y'all for rocking with me. I need y'all to do me a favor. That channel that's pinned in the description, I need y'all to please go over there and subscribe to that channel. We got 265 people in the building. All the conservative one needs is 44 subscribers to go live. That's it. So that channel that's pinned inside of the chat, y'all please do me a favor and go subscribe to that channel, the conservative one. Please do me a favor, and we finna keep on going with the show. Thank y'all, chat, in advance. Here we go.
I guess, to be clear, we were just wrong about that. And I will have a lot more to say about Rob McCoy and where I believe he fits into a lot of things. So I'm not letting up on that. Now, one piece of this where I still don't understand it, and the magic bullet. Okay. Now, we all recall what happened. I casually say on the show, hey, I saw the footage. There was no blood. And honestly, when I said it, I didn't process how big of a deal that was with the 30-06. Very quickly, what happens is Andrew Colvett whips up this tweet about what happened with the bullet, and he said he wanted to address all of the discussion that was being had about the online chatter. I'm obviously paraphrasing here. He says, I apologize, it's going to get graphic, but he spoke with the surgeon. The bullet should have gone through. The surgeon then explained that what he's typically seen on these wounds, and basically this was all a miracle. Charlie saved lives, even in death. And the internet clocked it, this miracle, the healthy bone. His bone was so healthy, and the density was so impressive. Like, this is a quote, by the way. His bone was so healthy. I want to read it. This is allegedly from a surgeon. Quote, his bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive that he's like the man of steel. It should have gone through and through. It likely would have killed those standing behind him too. And we were just like, eek. That kind of was like the beginning of the WTF, right? I feel like that was kind of the beginning of it. And immediately people in the comments responded to Andrew, and he said, this individual said, this post is so fake as it would violate HIPAA. Like, there's patient privacy. You can't just call up the surgeon. And then Andrew Colvett replies and says, rest assured, I would not have posted without full permission. Now, he said he spoke to the surgeon, and they confirmed that Andrew spoke to the surgeon, but that they did not know that he was going to write that tweet. They did not know that he called up the surgeon. So like, it very much came across to be like Andrew was just flying by the seat of his pants. I don't.
In my opinion, chat, all she wanted was a conversation with Erica Kirk. You know, I think she's going to kind of keep quiet because she was going hard. I think now she's going to keep quiet. But during this whole Charlie Kirk situation, you know, Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens was really good friends. But for some reason, it seems like Erica Kirk and Candace Owens really didn't get along. Like, I was surprised that Candace Owens was not like at that funeral that they showed us. That's, you know, we could put 1 + 1 is 2 to come up with some type of scenario, but it don't seem like Erica Kirk and Candace Owens, when Erica Kirk married Charlie Kirk, it don't seem like they became like family. That's just my opinion.
No, like he was just flying dark on that. And I was like, that seems very strange to me, because why would a surgeon do that? Like, the first thing the surgeon should say is, I can't speak to you. I don't even know, in theory, Andrew wasn't even there when Charlie died. I don't even know why the surgeon even knows this guy, actually. Maybe he hung around after, but, you know, Andrew was not one of the people that got into the hospital or anything like that. So this is quite literally the PR guy who's calling the surgeon. And so that just seems very inappropriate for a person to do, period. And I would say it was kind of the beginning, but that was what I got from that. Now, obviously, we discussed the security. I brought up Brian Harpole, this interview with Sean Ryan, and I think we can believe Turning Point when they say that they did not approve of this. They had no idea he was going on Sean Ryan. I think that's pretty clear. I don't believe he works there anymore. So that was kind of him just getting out there and perhaps trying to rescue his own reputation. And I think that only made his reputation worse.
Hey, what's up, Rich? How you doing, man? Appreciate you for joining.
Actually, because people rightfully sensed that he wasn't telling the truth in that interview, that he was being cagey, that he was saying things that didn't make any sense. Again, you constantly have these people that believe, like Brian Harple, that with enough performance, he can sit down and you're just going to convince people that this is real. And this is just a different time. Like I said.
Yeah, Chad, she's real calm right now. Like, that's what I think would happen, Chad. I think Erica Kirk, I think Candace Owens basically got what she wanted. Now she's real calm. She ain't all over the place and all hype. It seems like she's going to calm down now. She got what she wanted, in my opinion, Chad. Let me know what y'all think about that, Chad. Did she get what she wanted? Erica Kirk told her, shut up. Talked to her for about 4.5 hours. Now she's really, really, really quiet. Real calm about it.
These TikTokers are out of control. They will check you in 4 seconds, okay? Things that, the biggest piece of this that I want to communicate, and that I did communicate to them, and I hope that they took me seriously on this, or rather that they take my strong advice on this. I said, one of the reasons why I really want to sit down is because I want to walk out of here and feel confident saying to my audience, hey, like, there's stuff going on behind the scenes, but Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. Like, that more will come out, but you can take it from me that this is what happened. I was looking to achieve that because there's been a lot of signaling from various people, some people who are experts, some people who have been involved in cases, that there's obviously going to be stuff that the public does not have access to. And so it is at least plausible that they have seen very clear footage that we've been asking for of Tyler Robinson getting up there and taking the shot. Like, they have access to UVU camera. So I was hoping to hear that. And I said that I want to hear why people feel so confident at Turning Point USA that Tyler Robinson is the guy. And at this point, they elected to call the lawyer, their lawyer who is involved in this case, one of the lawyers that's involved in this case. There's always a team of lawyers, especially for something like this. And what I got from the lawyer did not make me feel that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. It did not make me feel confident that he didn't or did shoot Charlie Kirk. I was very surprised by this. He spoke a very long time. I asked, can you share with me what it is? And I said, when you share this with me, I will not say what that thing is. If we want to protect the integrity of the case, I'm not gonna. If you say we've got the footage of him taking a shot, I promise I won't say that to the audience. But I will communicate to them that you have something that is solid. And no. To the exact contrary, this guy he said that they have nothing but the affidavit. Okay, so what we have seen is what they have. What is being discussed publicly, this whole non-expert problem with you don't know. It's like what you read, his messages that don't have any dates on it, Tyler Robinson writing out everything and the clean alibi. That's what they have. And what he explained to me was that that's the affidavit stage. That's where it's at. And then what takes place now is the investigation is ongoing, right? So right now they're looking for more information. And once investigators, they could very well have obviously footage. And that is why they might feel that, we're definitely gonna get this prosecution. But the reality is they don't actually share that information with the victim. They don't share that information with Erica. They don't, in this part of the process, they will not know what investigators have discovered. This is what the lawyer told me until May. Okay. They have not seen anything that you have not seen, is what I want you to know. So with that in mind, I'm sitting here going, why are you signaling? Why do I feel like the public's being gaslit on this? There's been nothing that's convincing. There are so many commentators who have gone out and said to you, it's overwhelming. The evidence is overwhelming. The text messages that don't have a date, that don't even sound real, that's overwhelming. That to me feels really fake and gay. I really do want to say that to every commentator that is out there trying to tell the public and insisting that if you say it enough times it'll become real, you're actually just being dishonest. And I offered that a more honest way to communicate would be to say, we think he's involved. We feel strongly. I've said that. I think he's involved.
That's the vibe I'm getting too. White Raven _ music. That's the vibe I'm getting. She's now an employee of Turning Point.
We are very hopeful that throughout this investigation, we are going to get that concrete thing. And that's where we're at right now. That's just the stage that we are at. That is not what we are getting from them. That is like, I just feel like that's really important. I'll let you guys know, let the gaslighting stop. They have what you have, okay? There is nothing else. They are in an investigative stage. Erica has been named as the victim. They will know more in this May hearing, which is the probable cause hearing. That's what the lawyer told me. It's probable cause hearing. And that's when they will see the evidence. That's when they get to present the evidence, why they are going to stand there before a judge and be like, yes, we need to move this forward. It's not just an affidavit. We're not pulling together scraps. We have concrete evidence. Until then, okay, until we all get on the same page and understand what else they have, I am very confident stating the opposite of all of my, I guess, well-paid peers, in that I don't believe that Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger. And what I also said to them was, and I said this in front of the lawyer, because I don't know why I'm like this. I was like, you might need a new lawyer. I was like, because this person's trying to sell to you that this is solid. One of the rules that me and my husband have is that if you have a lawyer that tells you like you're 100% going to win, it's very clear that you're going to win, you need a new lawyer. Okay, that's a cheerleader. That's not a lawyer. A lawyer, even if you should 100% win, should be telling you the risks here. You know, I feel good about this case. Like, let me talk real to you. I feel good about this case, but here's where things could go wrong. I want you to understand those risks that are involved. We don't have this yet. We don't have that yet. And especially given what I told them, which is your lawyers, or the investigators rather, not their lawyers, because they're not the ones investigating. It's the state of Utah that's investigating. They have not called the one solitary person, as I told you guys, who filmed as he was on the roof. Remember the guy that's like, oh, there's somebody on the roof, and he sees him crouched down.
If I could bring anyone back from the dead that's famous, chat, it would be Muhammad Ali.
I said, I spoke to that person, and his testimony would be devastating to your prosecution. He saw the person on the roof. He filmed the person on the roof at 12:23 p.m. and he did not see that person take the shot. And this is not some random student. This is a guy who trains people to shoot guns at a range. He knows guns, okay? He said what he saw was a smaller gun. He said that this person was dressed in black tactical gear and there was no recoil. That's devastating. That would be devastating to the prosecution. And yet, investigators haven't reached out. Now, they offered back, well, maybe they haven't reached out because they have an even clearer video. And that's true. That's actually a good rebuttal. They're like, we don't even have to talk to this guy because the video will speak for itself, and we saw what we saw. Okay, but wouldn't you still want to speak to the other guy so you could prepare? I don't know, to question him something. I don't like that this investigation is going on, and I feel as though I spoke to more people than they have. Both of the people who filmed videos that day told me that they weren't reached out to. So I don't understand what's happening here. I don't understand the confidence, I guess, is the best way to say this. I told them I do not understand the confidence that is happening. Now, another really big thing that happened was they brought me Mikey's call logs, okay? They brought me Mikey's call logs, and that is why I said this was a productive meeting. There is no other way to say it. I asked every question, and they came with paperwork to show and to answer and to explain certain things. Also, which was, I thought, actually kind of sweet, that I guess I did on the previous show. I was like kind of looking at things into Mikey, and I couldn't find him. And someone said, I think Mikey's not his real name. They thought it was his middle name, actually. And I just assumed, okay, well, maybe he's using his middle name and that's why I can't find him. But Mikey really wants you guys to know that is his real name. And it is his real name. I found out shortly thereafter that they were confusing his middle name with, they thought it was switched. That Michael is his real name, just to clarify that, because I realized I actually didn't go back and clarify that. But Mikey's call logs, big piece of this, okay? I'm going to, I guess, jog your memory on what Blake said about Mikey that day, and then I'll tell you what actually happened, because I don't think Blake has that great of a memory. Okay, take a listen.
So I was not with Mikey, or I don't remember being with him. I think I was ahead of him as we left. And then we get out, and I run for, can't have been more than 15 or 20 seconds. And then I realize there hasn't been another shot, so the shooter has likely been detained or stopped or something, not in immediate danger. I pause, I look around me, and I see Mikey. And I see Mikey there. And truthfully, I will never forget what I saw, because I've seen Mikey almost every day for the past 2 years. I know his personality very well. He's a very bubbly guy. He's a very happy guy almost all of the time. And I'll never forget what I saw, because it was clear in the moment that he was profoundly freaked out. What I'll always remember is the way his lip was quivering, which I'd never seen before. And you very rarely see from someone that he was freaking out. And then I think he literally said to me, I might be imagining this, but I think what he literally said was, he was looking around, and then he says, I need to call Erica. And then he takes his phone and he begins calling Erica. And I don't want to disclose how that call unfolded, but he did that. Your mind extends all of this, but that is happening within a minute of all of this occurring. I remember he calls Erica. Around the same time, I pull out my phone and I call my mom just to say, Mom, there's been a shooting. You're going to see it on the news. I'm okay. Pray for me. I've got to go. And I remember that call. And around the time I put that phone away, and then he immediately calls his dad. He calls Rob McCoy. And he says, Dad, someone shot Charlie. You need to call all of your pastor friends. Charlie was hit. We need everyone to pray right now. And that's what he told him.
Okay, so that's just not right. And so when he says, I might be imagining this, I'll never forget, followed by, I might be imagining this, probably means that maybe you forgot and you really could be imagining. Now, for me personally, I think the normal physiological response in these high adrenaline situations for most people is you lock in. They're literally your body, when it goes through something, when it's terrified and it's going through you are really paying attention to details. We've learned about this many times over in health class growing up. This is why they talk about that fight or flight response, and quite literally there's stuff happening to your body. And so there's a lot of details here that are just not accurate. And the one that surprised me the most about these call logs is I certainly feel that we were given the impression over and over and over again that the first person Mikey called was Erica, right? He called Erica. We were told this by many people also, that he trained, he almost went to a camp and trained, and Charlie was like, 1, 2, 3, go, and fast, 1, 2, 3, go. That's why he walked away. 1, 2, 3, go, and just told him, this is what the first thing you do is. Well, he didn't do that. Actually, the first person he called was his wife. He called Elizabeth McCoy. And then he stayed on the phone with his wife for 10 minutes. And during those 10 minutes, he three-wayed Erica 3 minutes after the shot went off. And then he three-ways his father. And then he three-ways a third person who I am not interested in mentioning because it's not relevant. This is Danny McCoy, by the way, is his brother that's in the military, but that's before the shot goes off. Charlie Kirk shot goes off. I have that in detail. Charlie's brought to security. Mikey McCoy calls his wife. They will stay on the phone for 10 minutes. Okay. In that same minute, because we know this, because Blake Neff has given us his call log to his mother. Blake Neff called his mom. His call with his mother lasted 45 seconds. So we're assuming it went to 12:25. It very well could have stayed in 12:24, depending on the millisecond. Blake Neff ends that phone call with his mother. Mikey McCoy, after the phone call with his mother ends, adds Erica to the phone. Okay, so that when he was recapping and he's like, oh, his lips quivering and he's like, I got to call Erica. And he's like, and then I called my mom. That's not right. That's just not right. Okay, Mikey called Erica after Blake Neff ended that phone call with his mother. If call logs are to be believed above, human testimony. Mikey McCoy then drops Erica from the phone call 2 minutes later, and then he adds his father to the phone call. Again, he is this entire time on the phone with his wife, okay? And then Mikey McCoy ends his phone call with his father. He does call another person who I'm not mentioning because it's just not relevant to anything, not a character in the story, rather. And then he ends the phone call with his wife, and a minute later, his brother calls him back, and they stay on the phone for 10 minutes. I did not get this from everybody speaking about this Mikey McCoy call log. I know that You guys did not get this. I did not get this. I don't know why she was disappeared from this. Like, you could go, look, the wife wants privacy. No, she was like, main stage at the memorial, has been, I would say very involved in a lot of this kind of, like I think it's very close that she's close with Erica. They went on vacation together. So I don't get this disappearing act. I found that to be like, okay, but they were forthcoming with it. That feels good. That feels good, guys. Like, wow, we don't have to guess. Now we have solid answers. And like I said, when you come out and give solid answers and you're not weird and calling people names and saying all this stuff, it allows people to go, okay, I feel a bit more like we can trust this process because we have communication. That's the reality. And so I wanted to update you with that. Also, another thing that really, I think, surprised them and I think surprised me is getting back to this Hamptons retreat. The thing about the Hamptons retreat, and I communicated this with them, that makes me so uncomfortable is how many little lies were told. I think I've been clear about that. Like, Seth Dillon definitively pressed Charlie at this event. Now, whether it was in a hypothetical, which it was in a hypothetical, but he got fired up in the hypothetical of Charlie discussing potentially tweeting something against Bibi Netanyahu, it did lead to this firecracker moment. Again, this is one of those things where I go, why am I always being held out to dry, hung out to dry for telling people the truth? Especially when I wasn't going, oh, well, Seth Dillon killed Charlie Kirk. I just, this happened. It factually happened. And yet everybody's kind of putting out these weird statements and they're not being honest in them. And I was saying to them, that made me feel really weird. And I would love to know more about this Bibi Netanyahu offer to fund Turning Point to the next level. At which point Erica said she was not aware of that happening. It is obviously totally possible that that was kept in the business lane of Turning Point USA. But I'm certain, I said, I am absolutely certain that I did not get this from an obscure source that Bibi offered to fund Turning Point to the next level. And it was part of my frustration with that sit down with Alex Clark, where Andrew said, oh, there was not $150 million that's made up. I told them, Andrew Kovac was my source. Andrew Kovac told me verbatim that Bibi Netanyahu offered to take Turning Point to the next level and that Charlie turned that money down. So I said, there's a bit of a predicament when I'm being lambasted by all of these voices and people that are attacking me and these paid campaigns. And when I say paid, yes, okay, actually have the names of people. Different ways they're being paid. Some are being paid by PR firms. Too many are being paid by Prager University, which is upsetting to me because I know Marissa and it's just dirty. But it's especially crazy when people are calling it a conspiracy when I share things that are told to me from the spokesperson of Turning Point USA. Okay, that's weird. And
she ain't really telling us too much about the conversation. What was talked about for the 4.5 hours. She's not giving no good info about the conversation between her and Erica Kirk. It's kind of weird. I don't want to listen to this no more, Chad. She's not giving, the real inside information. She toned it down a lot, but she's still talking how she talked, but not just as heavy. But she ain't saying nothing about basically their conversation. We go over here. Yeah, I got on the treadmill today, guys. Anybody that rock with me on the walk down, I went and got on the treadmill today. I haven't ran on the treadmill in 3 years. Today, I went on and got on that treadmill. I ran 5 miles on the treadmill. I went live too, and the whole run, 50 minutes. That's what I did. I'm about 35 minutes in right here. 5 miles on the treadmill. Marathon training. The marathon is coming up January the 10th, the Chevron Marathon. and I'm just about ready. I've been training hard. Look, we are, let's see, 35 minutes in on this. Yeah, and look, I'm not even breathing. Yeah, I'm in pretty decent shape. Thanks to the walk down. Thank everybody that's been rocking with me on the walk down. Even though we did have some people coming there betting that I'm not really doing this work. Chat, we had people come in on the walk down, coming in the chat room, telling me I'm not really running. So that's why I had to get on the treadmill. They said, yeah, all you doing is walking, you're not really running. I bet you ain't even running no 5, 6, 7, 8 miles a day. I said, you know what? Bet. And they lost the bet, and I know they ain't gonna pay up. 50 minutes worth of running, 5 miles on the treadmill. And I'm not even breathing, chat. Not even breathing. Look, I'm getting on my phone and everything. I'm communicating with the people in the chat and everything while I'm running. That whole live video, I did it earlier today. Travis Murray. I know they ain't gonna pay. They ain't gonna pay. But I had a good time with it though. Chad. Hey, I had a good time. I got about, let's see, a little under 30 days before the marathon. The Chevron Marathon. Hope y'all join me, chat. I will be going live for that Chevron Marathon. I've been training a long time for this marathon. And right now, I want to take the time out to thank everybody that's been coming to rock with me on the walk down. Because I wouldn't be in this good of a shape if it wasn't for the walk down. Even the guy that said I'm not running these miles every day. I appreciate you for doubting me, because that makes me really, really, really want to put the work in. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you, bro, for doubting that I put the work in. But I had to do this. You know, I know you ain't gonna pay up, bro. I know you ain't, and it's all good. Just to let you know, don't doubt the OG. And for all you older guys out there, don't let these younger guys say you old. If you over 40, if you over 50, don't let these young guys say you old. Don't do it. You only as old as you feel and the work you put in. What does the shirt say? The Stock Sniper, the name of my YouTube channel. Yeah, that's one of my old Stock Sniper shirts. That's the original merch that I put out. That's the last one I got. But yeah, that's the Stock Sniper shirt. But yeah, if you over 40, if you 50, if you 60, if you 70, don't let nobody say you old and you washed up. Don't let them do it. Because guys, one thing I know as from running these marathons, there are men out there and women 70, 80 years old out doing better than me. 70, 80 years old putting the work in. Matter of fact, it's going to be one of them is in this gym. Wait, let me find it. Older guy. He going to walk behind me when I'm running. Where he at? Well, I leave it alone. But yeah, I think I'm in the live right here, guys. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me, chat. How many people we got in the chat? We still got 150 people in the chat. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me, everybody that came through, everybody that subscribed to that channel right there that's pinned. I appreciate y'all for subscribing. Once we get to 50 subscribers on that channel right there that's pinned, the conservative one. As soon as we get 50 subscribers on that channel, I'll be able to go live. And I think I'm gonna move a lot of this content right here about politics. You know, I think I'm gonna move that to the conservative one and keep this one just about investing into the stock market. That's what I think I'm gonna do. So if you like this type of content, please go over there and subscribe to the conservative one that's pinned in the description. And soon as we get to 50 subscribers on that channel, we will be going live. So I think I'm ending right here, chat. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Everybody that came through and rocked with me. I love and I appreciate y'all. Everybody that come through this marathon training. Everybody that come through and rock with me on the walk down. I love and I appreciate y'all. I wouldn't be this fit if it wasn't for the walk down and the people that come rock with me on the channel. So everything that y'all do, I really appreciate y'all, chat. So with that being said, y'all have a great night. It's after 12 o'clock. I usually don't be up this late. I am an old man, but I had to come in and put the content in. So with that being said, I love and I appreciate y'all. Till tomorrow, y'all have a great night, chat. I love and I appreciate y'all. Till the next one, I'm out. I love y'all, chat.